behind me, you'll see the historic Blakeley Battlefield. This is not necessarily a cemetery walk, it's more of a explore walk, still fighting the weather, so I hope this little gap in the weather holds out. I don't know if you can hear the thunder going on in the background, but I figured that we get the main battlefield and walk through it a little bit, and then there's a couple other places in here. And if I don't get to anything major, if I don't get to do a whole lot here, I can always come back, make it a point to stop here and do a more thorough walk through the battlefield. Stay tuned and on our walk. My name is Todd. If there are any spirits here that would like to let their presence be known, if there are any spirits that would like to provide me their names, I will do my best to find out who you are and share that so that people will remember you and remember the sacrifice.
You don't understand.
So this is readout 4. The original earthwork. Blakeley State Park encompasses more than 2,100 acres and is the largest National Register historic site in the eastern United States. The battle at Fort Blakeley is considered the last major battle of the Civil War and was fought on April 9, 1865. So this will be similar to what it would have been like if you were here. This is one of the cannon emplacements. And if those weeds and stuff were not there, you'd be able to see out on the battlefield. This is another here and one here.
Weak.
Although Mobile Bay had been closed to blockade running traffic since midsummer of 1864, the port city of Mobile still remained in Confederate control. Fort Blakeley, an earthworks fort constructed under the direction of Virginian Major General Dabney H. Maury, sat about 5 miles north of Spanish Fort, Alabama, in what was then the town of Blakeley. The structure consisted of an arcing 3-mile line of entrenchments anchored by 9 redoubts and about 40 pieces of artillery. In late March 1865, 2 Federal infantry columns converged on the defenses of the city at Fort Blakeley and Spanish Fort. One force of about 13,000 Union soldiers commanded by General Frederick Steele moved west from Pensacola with orders to take Blakeley from the rear. Union General Edward R.S. Canby's 16th and 13th Corps moved north along the eastern shore of the bay, forcing Confederate soldiers there to fall back north to their defenses. By April 1st, Union forces had enveloped Spanish Fort. Brigadier General St. John R. Liddell, with about 4,000 men, held out against a much larger Union force until it fell on April 8th, allowing Canby to concentrate 16,000 men for an attack on Fort Blakeley the next day. On April 9th, Brigadier General John P. Hawkins led his 1st Missouri Infantry of U.S. colored troops with sheer numbers breaching the Confederate earthworks, compelling the Confederates, including Liddell, to surrender within about 30 minutes of the final assault, which was after 5:30 p.m. The siege and capture of Fort Blakeley was the last combined force battle of the war. The casualty figures are approximate, but is an estimated of 75 Confederate soldiers were killed, with over 2,800 captured, and 150 Union troops were killed, with 650 wounded during the siege and assault. Back here, behind us, none of these woods would be here. I cannot help you other than to identify you if possible, if you can give me your name. So you would have had not only these fortifications here, you would have had a ditch that was dug out around them, as you can see here.
What?
And this would have been something similar to their view. But you can see these would be sharpened stakes. They would have had bushes cut down and trees cut down, facing out the other direction. Can you imagine trying to climb backwards up a tree? If you turned a tree upside down and try to climb up it or through it from that angle, that would have been very difficult to do. So they would have had various obstacles out here to stand in the way. So take a look at what the Union would have seen. So just this, with this obstacle, I'm sure it was a little thicker than what it is now, but just with this obstacle here, and then you have the clearing all through here that they would have to run in the open. Would have been another open field for them to have to cross to get to the Confederates. But then you have this here, which the Park Services made good use of for fallen limbs and things, keeping this particular obstacle and fortification up to very similar to what it would have been okay, if you imagine having to go through something like this, this is probably one of the thicker portions. Imagine trying to crawl through that just to have a dead zone before you get to the stakes there, and then another open zone. Then you have the trench. Then you have the redoundment. All right, here we are on the Union side. And it's starting to sprinkle a little bit. So I may not have much more time here. But you can see what the Union troops would have seen as they had to cross over there to redoundment number 4. Again, my name is Todd. Are there any spirits here that would like to make your presence known? Please do so by utilizing the device in my hand. You would have had entrenchments like this. Just like this. All facing different directions for different fields of fire. Fields of fire. I would imagine that you are weak in the sense that you have yet been able to rest. And here we have the Union line. This is called General Cockrell's Loop. This would be the position of the 114th Ohio Infantry. Way in the back there, way back there, would be the Confederate fortification. So you have this earthwork here for the Union side. Looks a little more impromptu, not quite as defined and not quite as large as the Confederate side.
Back off.
I'm staying on the trail. You have this earthworks here. There's a cannon emplacement there. You can see the trench goes all down that way. And then your zigzag trenches here.
On the 9th of April, 65, long remembered be the day, in range of Blakeley's batteries General Canby's forces lay. They had waded sloughs and marshes, been exposed to winds and rain, marched o'er concealed torpedoes this proximity to gain. For here, within their stronghold, dreading an open field, had convened Dick Taylor's forces to keep us from Mobile. We tried their works with light guns, but of these they did make sport, saying with such, it would take 5 years and 6 months to take their fort. Our good general, not wishing to besiege their work so long, gave orders that assault be made and carry them by storm. Evening came on, at 5:30 was the appointed time. Our reserves were then moved to the front, and forward to battle line. Our artillery opened on their works, their virtue thought to try, when they opened their embrasures and gave us a reply, dropping shot and shell around us, cutting branches o'er our heads, while their leaden missiles thick and fast on deadly errands sped. Our skirmishers along the line engaged them. Meanwhile our outward line was forming, preparing for the trial. Our batteries then opened, using guns both small and large, and command was given round the lines. Oh, it was a glorious sight to see the gallantry displayed along the line of Union forces when that fearful charge was made, dashing forward o'er obstructions, breasting a murderous fire from which troops less determined in confusion would retire. Onward, rushing to the muzzle of huge death-dealing guns, each vying to be foremost, and cheering as they run, mounting the rebel ramparts with shouts they rend the Ari, and plant the emblem of the free, our glorious colors there. 3,000 Southern soldiers and many heavy guns are trophies of the victory which this day has been won. But these fruits of our conquest many never lived to see. They perished in the conflict, peace to their memory be. A tear will glisten in the eye when comrades shall recite how they fell amid the fight. 8th Illinois, brave regiment. Lost heavily today, being deployed as skirmishers, they were foremost in the fray. The 11th behaved gallantly, as is their wont to do. They understand the business of putting rebels through. The colors of the old 46th, born on despite of ball, were among the first that floated triumphant o'er the walls. 9 or 10 men of the 76th dead on the spot did lay. The 83rd Ohio had 2 flagstaffs shot away. The 20th Iowa, luckily, lost not a single man, though early on the rebel works their colors took a stand. Of other troops I cannot speak, yet know they all fought well. The story of their valor future history will tell, how at Blakeley, under Andrews, Carr, Veatch, Garrard, Hawkins, Steele, they won a victory which gave them the city of Mobile. How, upon the 12th, they crossed the bay, took possession of the town, and into quiet camp life they once more settled down. Here we will leave them, but I fear that eyes of softest blue will do what Southern armed men have essayed in vain to do, and many, many a Northern maid may yet deep anguish feel, should her lover fall a victim to some fair rebel in Mobile.
Thank you for watching Cemetery Walks with Milvet. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like and notification button, and we'll see you back here on our next walk.